Understand this once and you will see miracles happen. Conny Mendez. Today, we're going to talk about the power of the mind and how our mind functions. There are 7 spiritual laws that have been with us for thousands of years, with the most important being the law of mentalism. This law teaches us that what you think becomes reality. I'd like to share one of the incredible teachings of Mrs. Conny Mendez, explaining how our mind works. After watching this video, you'll understand why you might be experiencing situations in your life that you don't enjoy. I recommend you stay until the end because this information is incredibly valuable. If you want to change your present circumstances, pay close attention to every word you hear. Throughout the day and night, we think countless different thoughts. Our minds constantly play a sort of continuous cinematic reel. Among all these diverse ideas, we stop to contemplate, examine, or study some more than others. Why? Because some of them trigger feelings in us. Feelings of fear, empathy, sympathy, pity, liking, or disliking. Regardless of the reason, if a thought triggers a feeling, it becomes interesting to us. We revisit it later, perhaps even discuss it with someone. This is what meditation is. And what we meditate on gets stored in our subconscious, felt, and etched there. Once an idea is etched in the subconscious, it becomes a reflex. You know when the doctor taps your knee and it jerks? That's your body reacting to a sensitive point being touched. Similarly, whenever something in your life relates to one of the ideas engraved in your subconscious, the reflex reacts exactly as it was imprinted. You adopt an attitude in line with the original feeling you had when you first thought of that idea. Metaphysicians call this a concept, a belief, a conviction. The subconscious doesn't discern, express opinions, or think on its own. It lacks the power to protest and has no will of its own. These are not its functions. Its sole function is to react by using the reflex it has been given. In this sense, it's a marvelous archive, an automatic librarian secretary that never rests or falters, but also lacks a sense of humor. It doesn't discern whether an order has been given in jest or in earnest. So, if you playfully call your slightly bulging nose "my stuffed potato nose" to amuse others, for instance the subconscious, being a precise servant with no sense of humor, will obediently follow your words unconditionally. It will go to great lengths to carry out the order you've given, and you'll find your nose looking more and more like a stuffed potato. The word metaphysical means beyond the physical, the science that studies and deals with everything invisible to our physical senses. It provides an explanation for everything we don't understand, all that's mysterious, and lacks an evident explanation, as you will come to realize as you learn more. Now, let's talk about the warnings from your elders. Do you remember the first time you heard the word cold mentioned? You were very young. Your elders mentioned it repeatedly, teaching you to fear it, to understand it, and advising you not to wet your feet, not to stand in a draft, not to get too close to someone with a cold, because it would catch on to you. All of this got etched into your subconscious, forming a reflex there. You never had to remember the warnings from your elders. The damage was done. From then on, your subconscious has kindly provided you with a cold each time you stood in a draft, got your feet wet, or approached someone with a cold. And every time you heard there was a flu or cold epidemic going around, it was right there to remind you. Due to your elders, what you've heard from others, what you've read in newspapers and seen in radio and television ads, and most importantly, because you're unaware of the metaphysical truth of life, you've accepted these erroneous ideas. They've become automatic reflections of your own thoughts and are the root cause of all the troubles in your life. You carry a hefty load of foreign ideas that affect every aspect of your life, your body, your soul, and your mind. Consider this. If you hadn't accepted them, if you had exercised your free will to choose, to accept, or to reject, then no negative influence, germ, virus, or power in the world could have attacked or convinced your subconscious to act in any way other than what you instructed. Adverse circumstances or good ones, your negative or positive willpower is the magnet that draws them to you. As we've already said, your negative or positive attitude towards events determines the outcomes for you. You must understand that everything you've experienced until now is lodged in your subconscious. Each time an opportunity arises, those feelings come to the surface, and without realizing it, you're repeating the same experiences. Do you know why? Because your subconscious obeys all the information you provide. That's why it's crucial to eliminate these false beliefs and replace them with the ones you want to live by. For example, if you grew up in poverty because your family had no money, that got rooted in your subconscious, what we call crystallized in metaphysics. Until you replace that information with the correct one, you'll keep believing that you can only be poor. But the truth is, you deserve just as much as anyone else, and you have the same right to prosper. However, you must be aware that you're the one constantly limiting yourself, because you've been raised that way. And that's the crystallized information in your subconscious. Metaphysics has already shown that we can reprogram our minds and create the life we desire. How do we do it? Changing our thoughts and carefully selecting the information we feed into our subconscious is key. Remember that the law of attraction, as it's well described, says that similar vibrations resonate together. And what's significant here is that you understand this. So, what does it mean? Let me give you some examples. If you constantly say you don't have money, you won't have it. Why? Because there's a universal principle at play. As above, so below, and as below, so above. This means that your reality mirrors your mind, and your mind shapes your reality. Pay attention to what I just said. As in your mind, so in your reality. Now, do you understand why you should start changing those limiting beliefs you've held until now? Beliefs that have led to scarcity, illness, or lack of love in your life. Let me illustrate this with an example. Words hold tremendous power. If you spend your day decreeing that you lack money, that you can't make ends meet, that you can't cover your bills, that's the information you're sending to your subconscious. As Mrs. Méndez explains in the chapter I just shared, the subconscious doesn't discern, express opinions, or think on its own. It lacks the power to protest and has no will of its own. Its sole function is to obey the information you provide. It's a marvelous archive that never rests or fails. To change your way of thinking, you must completely eliminate these daily self-imposed limitations. Do you know how many successful people in the world come from poor families? Do you think it's luck? Let me tell you, luck doesn't exist. They've opened their minds to a sea of possibilities, pursued their soul's dream, and with both physical and mental effort, they've achieved success. Some at a young age, others not so much. But they all understood the power of the mind and managed to reprogram their subconscious, removing those limitations they might have been raised with. Guard your thoughts. Observe what information you're sending to your subconscious. Are you positive or negative? What words do you constantly utter? Remember, every word is a decree, and to your subconscious, it's an order. One it will strive to fulfill, giving you more of what you're decreeing. Have you ever had a day when you woke up on the wrong side of the bed, as they say? You were angry, went out, and had an unpleasant encounter. Suddenly, it felt like you were a magnet for conflicts, and you couldn't figure out why. I'll tell you in a simple way. That's how the law of attraction works. And remember, as above, so below. If you start your day in chaos, your day will likely be chaotic. The same goes for money, health, and love. Reprogram your mind. If you constantly feel like you're sick and take ownership of diagnoses that don't belong to you, you'll undoubtedly attract more of the same. If you've had an unpleasant love experience that leads you to believe that all people are the same, as long as you keep thinking that way, whether it's about money, health, or love, you'll remain stuck. Start reprogramming your mind. If a dream enters your mind, it enters your world. That's a law, and laws never fail. It's people who don't believe in them that fail. Observe yourself. Learn to listen to yourself, and always remember that if you want your reality to change, you must first change your beliefs. How do you do it? By starting to decree what you want to see manifest in your life. Visualize yourself with the life you desire. People usually need to see it to believe it, but those of us who have studied and understood universal principles create it in our minds first, and then we see it manifest because we have faith and certainty that it works. As St. Paul said in the Bible, faith is the conviction of what is unseen and the certainty of what is expected. And, as I always say, where attention goes, energy flows, and that's what you become. Focus on what you desire, and don't lose sight of that goal. Chase it with faith and conviction that you will achieve it, and so it will be. As the great metaphysical teachers used to say, don't just take my word for it, try it for yourself. If you found the information I just shared helpful, please let me know in the comments. If you're new and this is the first time you've heard me, subscribe to my channel so you can keep learning. And that concludes our journey into the fascinating world of the law of attraction. Thank you for watching. To receive a very powerful ancient technique to attract abundance, visit the link in the description of this video, and don't forget to subscribe.